Welcome back to the Daily Thunder podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Woods. I am here joined by our good friend, Brandon Rabar. Brandon, how are you?
I'm good. Going to do a Thunder draft podcast and watch some 1883. I mean, that's a good Friday night.
It's a great Friday night. If you've seen 1883, you know. And we're also here with Spenser Davis, and I don't think he has seen 1883.
I have not. I've been rewatching Breaking Bad this week. Trying to get back into that universe with the final season of Better Call Saul airing right now. So I've been enjoying that.
When the episode aired, I think it was the second episode. It's the episode with the plate of Breaking Bad when he makes the sandwich, the plate breaks, and then he goes and puts the pieces of the plate back together and realizes our friend, I can't remember,
Crazy Eight.
Yeah,
Crazy Eight.
Crazy Eight had the piece of the plate. That was the moment I was like, this might be the best show I ever watched.
Yeah. The first two, we don't want to spend too much time on this, but I feel like the first two seasons are not that strong compared to the end of the series. But that's it's no slight. It's just how good the last few seasons were.
Is season 4 season 4 is the best season, right?
No, I mean I think the last season's the best one.
Interesting.
And I think similarly with Saul. I think they've all. I think they get better each season.
Brandon, who's your favorite Breaking Bad character?
I mean, probably Jesse. I mean, I really came to like that, but if I'm not choosing Jesse, I might go with Gus. Honestly, he's such a good villain. Like, your shows a lot of times are make and break by how good your villains are to your protagonist. And Gus was such a good villain to Walter White. So yeah, those two.
I'm going Mike.
Mike's great.
Give me Mike. Yep.
Tell you who it's not is Skyler. That is definitely not.
I've actually been more sympathetic to Skyler on this rewatch, but Marie, Hank's wife, is just as bad as I remembered. Yeah.
Holy cow, Marie. Oh my gosh. Big Badger fan. Love every time there's a Badger scene. I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Good call.
All right. So last week we did the lottery 1 through 14, and this week we're going 15 through 30. We will move through these guys a little quicker than we did last week, but there are a few guys that we want to highlight. Again, these are rankings in through the lens of Oklahoma City. So we are as if we are ranking them for fit with this current Thunder team. I'm sure there are boards that have some of these guys in much different orders because they're just ranking them based on them as a prospect and not thinking about any team. So we're going to start with 15. I think, guys, we mentioned a couple of these guys, like these were the first few guys out of the lottery that just missed out. So we're going to basically pick up right where we left off. And we're going to go 15 through 20. We'll just read them. So Spenser, give us your 15 through 20.
Usman Dean. How do you say that?
We were talking about that last week.
Usman Dang.
I say it, but that doesn't mean it's right though.
I am enjoying your attempts.
I've never tried to. I had never even considered how this would be pronounced before you just asked me to say it. Usman is at 15. Dyson Daniels at 16. Jalen Williams from Santa Clara at 17. Malachi Branham at 18. Patrick Baldwin Jr. at 19. And Jake LaRavia at 20.
The guy you mentioned from Santa Clara, I don't have in my top 30.
Well, okay, let's save this for the end because I texted you guys about earlier today that I had a spicy take, and that's who the take is about. So
that's what I was getting at. I thought that might be what that was.
We will circle back to him.
All right. Is there anybody else in those five that you want to highlight?
Not really. I mean, Laravia is probably also a bit of a reach, but he's just an interesting forward that can shoot, pass, play a little bit of defense, unselfish player. Pat Baldwin is probably the big name. He was the number one player in the country for his class for like most of his youth time, and then had a horrific freshman season in Milwaukee. But he's 6'10" and can shoot, so I still have him in the top 20. And the other guys are just kind of interesting. They're not a ton of upside, I don't think.
Wasn't Patrick Baldwin's dad the head coach?
He was at Milwaukee. Yeah,
he got fired.
He got fired after the year because they were so bad. I think they were the worst team in the Horizon League, despite having a 5-star prospect. Because basically it was because their point guards or just their backcourt in general was like, it may as well have been you and me. They just were not really running offense. And what we learned from that is that Pat Baldwin Jr. is not really a shot creator, but I think he can still shoot, and he's huge. So
he was also in my 15 through 20. He was number 18. My 15 through 20 is Mark Williams at 15. A couple of these guys you probably had in the lottery. Mark Williams at 15, Johnny Davis at 16, Malachi Branham at 17, Patrick Baldwin Jr. at 18, Jaden Hardy at 19.
Whoa.
And one of my favorite, I won't say favorites, but I like this guy probably more than I should. Walker Kessler at 20.
Kessler was somebody that I had higher early on, like when I first started doing this draft's big boards, and I've kind of continuously dropped him down, even though he's kind of stayed the same. I just ended up liking other guys more. But if the Thunder were to pick him at 30, I think that'd be a great pick. But obviously, I think it'd be terrible at 12.
The thing with Kessler is that he shot it in high school. Like he was, able to. I'm not saying he was like prolific or anything, but he was showing the ability to shoot, and that didn't translate at all either at North Carolina or at Auburn. And I think he probably is going to need to find that at some point. Really good shot blocker, right? Like he's a good rim protector at the 5, but his feet are pretty slow. Like I believe in him significantly less than like Mark Williams.
One of my favorite parts of last week's show was reading you guys the shades of that Kevin O'Connor posted at the Ringer. So to continue the trend, Walker Kessler's shades of Jarrett Allen and Jakob Pertl.
I think that either of those would be a great result for him. I mean, obviously that's.
Yeah. I mean, Pertl especially is, a great rim protector that kind of goes under the radar, but
yeah.
I mean, if you have a Jakob Pertl that can hit like a trailer or the like 1 or 2 corner threes a game, like that's a late teens pick, I think.
For Patrick Baldwin, it was Harrison Barnes, Kevin Knox, and Jabari Parker.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, Harrison Barnes is probably aiming a little high, but I think ideally that's the idea.
He is really big. 6'9".
Yeah, he's huge. Yeah.
When he had so much pedigree coming in, like he was supposed to be a lottery pick, pretty easy lottery pick, and he still has a lot of offensive upside. I mean, if this season was a disappointment for him, but I still think that teams will probably see that ceiling and upside and be kind of tempted to take him maybe a little bit sooner than people think he's going to go because of that.
Spenser, was he recruited like by other, like could he have gone to bigger schools? He just went there because his dad coached there?
Correct. Like he was a slam dunk 5-star. He could have gone anywhere. I think he was even expected to go to Duke for most, and that, how we think about him would be totally different if he had just been like the 6th man for Duke, because he's probably not starting over Paolo or Mark Williams.
Could he have had Wendell Moore's season?
I mean, they're like Wendell Moore's much more of a driver, right? I think could he have had Brady Manick's season, but just like in an NBA body? I think that is maybe a more apt comparison. But like, yeah, I think that's the idealized version of what he will be, is just somebody that can be sort of a release valve from three, and then maybe eventually develop some shot creation stuff. But that, and like the other thing with him is he's not an elite athlete. And the reason why he was number one is because he kind of developed earlier than a lot of the guys in his class, and then they caught up to him, which happens. But yeah, he's still a very interesting player, I think. And I just think he got screwed with where he was last year.
Brandon, did you have Mark Williams in the lottery?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I think I had him the lowest of all of us, maybe.
Okay.
You had him at 18. I have my notes up.
I had him at 19. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
My 15 through 20, my 15 is Johnny Davis, probably lower than most people. 16 is Jeremy Sohan. 17 is Ty Washington. 18 is Jaden Hardy. 19 is Mark Williams. And 20 is Leonard Miller. He's like up with a bullet. Like I know that seems high when, he just was deemed like draft eligible and was a late entry, like as of yesterday. But because of that, I've gone all in on deep diving him, and there's a lot to like about him. Like his upside. Look, I'm going to be honest. It was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to project who the Thunder might get with their own pick, what like around the top 5. And it's a lot of fun. That Clippers pick, number 12, and all the guys. This section is a lot less fun. Like there's some intriguing players and there's some interesting players. But when I'm looking at these guys in this section, there's only a few guys that really excite me. And Leonard Miller may be worse than everybody in this section. But he's one of the most exciting because of his potential and his upside and his tools and his physical bag that he's got.
Okay. Ryan, I don't know how you want to structure this. We need to talk about Leonard Miller, and I want to talk about Jalen Williams a little bit at the end. But you want to do Miller first?
Yeah, go for it. I saw those reports as well that he's going to be in this class. It was a late entry. I guess it was some paperwork that was holding him up.
Yeah, I mean, he's the youngest guy in this class now. He was basically playing high school ball in Canada last year, as far as I know. He did a few of like the main, like I think he was at Hoop Summit, like some events like that in the States, but for the most part has been playing Canadian high school basketball, as I understand it.
So Brandon, like for myself, who hasn't watched any of this guy, sell him to me and those who haven't seen him.
So, I mean, obviously one of the biggest selling points is, like Spencer said, he's going to be the youngest player in this draft, but he's Canadian. So, I mean, you know how Thunder love their Canadians between Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Lou Dort. We're all kind of already falling in love with Shaedon Sharpe. Look, he's like 6'10", 6'11". He's still growing, and he can handle the ball. He can pass. He can shoot. Now, again, we haven't seen him against any college players. We haven't seen him in a pro setting in any sort of international Euro ball or anything like that. A lot of players look great against high school competition. Everybody that's a big-time college prospect or an NBA prospect usually dominates the high school level. But when you're looking in this section, to me, this is a guy you take a swing on. Like if he's there at number 30, or if the Thunder decide to package, say 30 and 34, because they think they can get him at, say, 24, 23, to me, it's worth a swing to consolidate or take him that late, because just like we saw what the Thunder tried to do with Poku, and we're still, that's still an experiment, and then what Chet Holmgren may be, when you can get a guy that's like 7 foot and handle, put him on the floor, and he shows some offensive upside. It's just like Ousmane Dieng. It's the same type of thing as Ousmane Dieng. All these physical tools and potential and length combined with the age. I mean, it's pretty tantalizing.
All right. Can I come in with the rebuttal?
Yeah, I feel really weird with saying tantalizing. I don't know, this seems like a weird word to use when you're talking about NBA players. I'd like to strike that from the record.
So I also went on a bit of a Leonard Miller deep dive this week, and I went in ready to put this guy in my lottery. Like I'm pumped. All right. Like I remember, I think I even sent you guys a text a couple weeks ago about him and like how he, there was starting to be talk about him on draft Twitter. And I finally watched like some more videos and stuff. And then, I listened to some analysis from like Sam Vecini and Matt Penny. And I'm not nearly as excited. Mostly because like he really can't shoot, which is kind of part of the problem. Like he apparently has pretty good touch, but like his shot is kind of a disaster mechanically, and you can see that pretty clearly on tape. I mean, it's different every time, even like on the highlight tape. Even if you just watch the highlights on YouTube when they're going in, like the shot looks different every single time. He's almost a Canadian Poku in that he like has a pretty similar frame, like can probably add more weight and muscle. Like he's not as skinny as Poku, but he also does not really have the burst that like in a similar way that Poku does not have any burst at all. And he also like he's just never really played team basketball before in his life, as far as we know, like at any sort of high level for his age range. And I like the upside is there, but for like Oklahoma City specifically, do they really want to take on another 3 to 4 year project, on the back end of whatever this Poku thing is going to be? Like if Oklahoma City got him at 25, I think it's a fine upside swing to take, but like he's going to spend all of next year in the G League. Like I'm not sure. Like if you try to put him at a high major next year, he probably would not start at a lot of money.
You're supposed to have a rebuttal, and you called him the Canadian Poku. You're just selling me even more on him.
Brandon mentioned that he hasn't played against college players. Spencer, you know who else didn't play against college players?
Josh Giddey,
LeBron James.
LeBron James,
That's right. That's right.
It's just like go. I would just encourage you guys to go watch some of the highlight tapes where everything looks good, right? And then ask yourself how any of that is going to translate anytime soon. Like it just doesn't look real to me.
I do think that I've watched stuff too, and what stood out to me were his handles and his playmaking at that size.
Yeah.
I do think those seem legit. His shot is funky. I agree that his shot is funky. And of course, you're watching highlights, so they all go in. But I do think he's got a little bit of burst for being, 6'10", 6'11". And I don't know. I just think that late, would I rather have a guy like that, like a swing like that, or would I rather take a guy that's like, oh, he's a good defender and he'll never shoot. And I don't know if his defense is quite good enough to, be like, all defensive team level. Like, what I'm saying? You're just taking swings at that point. So once you get to 20 and above, if you want to take all the Poku swings you want, I'm cool with that, with all the picks that the Thunder have. All you need is one of those to pan out. If you take one Poku swing a year and after 6 years, one of them pans out, that's a huge win because of what that potentially could mean.
Yeah. And I mean, I've got him at 25, so I'm not like too far off.
Oh, okay.
But like, I don't know. I was hoping to be, I guess I'm sounding a little bit down because I was really hoping to be all in on this guy, and I'm just not, which is a bit of a bummer. But like, yeah, if they want to trade 34 and 30 to take him at like 26, then like go off. That's fine.
Right.
Brandon, you said you had Mark Williams in this range here.
Yeah. I had him number 19, just one spot above Leonard Miller, but I might have just talked myself into Miller over him.
I love this shades up for Mark Williams. Consistent Hassan Whiteside.
Oh, wow. Well, actually, if it was a consistent Hassan Whiteside, I mean, that's not bad. I mean, that
the
was
other one was Robert.
Issues
the other one was Robert Williams.
Isn't consistent Hassan Whiteside like Joel Embiid?
I guess it depends on what he's consistently doing. Is he just consistent?
Yeah.
See, when I think of Hassan Whiteside, I just think of defense. So I think of him actually trying on defense consistently, and that's pretty solid. I don't even think about his offense at all.
Spencer, you want to go 21?
What? Wait, Can we hit Jalen Williams real quick?
Yes.
Okay. Jalen Williams, guard out of Santa Clara. Okay. This kid's awesome. Right after we're done recording, I want you guys to go watch some tape on this guy. He's like 6'6". He looks huge. Part of the reason because he's playing in whatever conference. He's playing in a mid-major, right? Santa Clara. But he can do some things with the ball. He can shoot. He can pass. He can shoot from a variety of different areas. He almost looks like a little bit of a shorter version of Robert Covington, just in the way that he moves. Like not as stiff as Robert Covington, especially veteran years. But he's apparently going to have, like, we'll see how he measures at the combine, but there was a note in Sam Vecini's mock draft where he thinks he's going to have a 7-foot wingspan. And I mean, this is a guy that shot 40% from 3-point range last year or close to it, and has had really good free throw numbers for his whole career. He is a little bit older. He just finished his junior year, so that's a bit of a knock. But I don't know, man. Like, this draft is not that good once you get out of the lottery. And so if you're telling me you can have like a guy that may shoot, 38, 39, 40% from 3, 7-foot wingspan, potential to be a plus defender at some point, like, I'm all over that.
Yeah, I actually have Jalen Williams at number 26. So I don't think that's crazy for all the reasons you said. Like, in all the mocks, he's so low, and I don't really. He's always like mid second round, from like around 45 or so. And when I was going through, the second round guys, I haven't done like a huge deep dive on them. All the projected kind of first round up to say like 32, 33, 34, where the Thunder are picking again, I've looked at. So I just started looking at the stats, and his stats jumped out at me. So I watched some tape on him, and I just didn't really understand why he was mocked so low. Because like you said, I mean, he shoots 40% from 3 on like over 3 attempts per game. Like you said, very good free throw shooter, over 4 rebounds and 4 assists a game and 18 points a game. I mean, really, the small school is the only thing I can see holding him back. And I guess he's not a very good defender. But when you're looking at the guys in this range, when you have offensive players that are that good offensively, I mean, and like you said, he's kind of thick. That doesn't mean he's going to be a good defender, but he at least has the body.
He has the tools. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, he looks huge. All right. Like, he looks massive on the court with these guys, even as like ostensibly a guard. But yeah, he's got all the tools. Again, we'll see how he measures at the combine, but if it's a 7-foot wingspan, like, man, sign me up, because like, he would have all the tools to start at the 3 for Oklahoma City basically as soon as he adapts to the speed of the game. Like, that would be the only concern for me for not starting him from day one.
I do. It's just think, like, just from what? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Just from what I read, his defense is pretty bad. But again, I don't know.
That's the goal.
You're looking at right. Well, right. Exactly. And when you look at his team and who knows his role and things like that, but yeah, his defensive rating was pretty bad. But man, those offensive numbers are pretty tantalizing.
I mean, Trey Mann was also tantalizing. It's the word of the pod. I mean, like, they took Trey Mann last year, so who was, I don't know, one of the worst defenders in the SEC the year before as far as a guard. So, I don't think that, and like, he was also a bad defender as a rookie in the NBA, but he was at least trying. So,
who else was a bad defender? Was Jalen Green, like, supposedly one of the worst defensive ratings in the league from according to Twitter. I haven't backed it up with the research too much. I have a little bit, but I'm just saying, like, usually when you're looking at guys who can really, really score the ball and do it efficiently, when you're looking at all these analysts and things like that, bad defense doesn't usually drop him this much. Like, the only thing I can see is bad defense, and like you said, it being a mid-major, I guess.
Spencer, keep us going at 21.
21, I have a bit of a reach here. Terkavion Smith from NC State. 22, I have Nikola Jovic. 23, I have Walker Kessler. 24, I have Ty Washington. And 25, I have Leonard Miller.
We have a couple of overlaps in this range as well. Brandon, what about you, 21 through 25?
21, Patrick Baldwin Jr., 22, EJ Little, 23, finally Walker Kessler. every time I want to say Walker, Texas Ranger, every single time I say his name. Walker, Texas Kessler, 24, Nikola Jovic, and 25, Kennedy Chandler.
I also had 24 and 25, Nikola Jovic and Kennedy Chandler. So to continue last week's theme of identical boards, I had 22 EJ Liddell, 21 Ty Washington. 23,
Wow. So
23 I had Wendell Moore Jr.
So 3 of those 5, we had the exact same ranking. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I
Spenser,
love your board, Ryan. You're nailing it.
Spencer, what do you think of Wendell Moore Jr.? Is this too high?
Yeah, probably. I mean, like he was kind of a role player for Duke, even as like a junior, and was just a little bit inconsistent for that role. I think like at times he was their best player, but like he's not really a good enough ball handler or a distributor to like play guard spot. And I don't know that he's a good enough defender to like stick him out on the wing or, like he's a pretty good shooter, but I don't know, man. Like he, to me, is just like, he's just a guy. Like, like he's a jag basically. No disrespect, but like I don't have him in my top 30. He's a really good college player though.
For me, Wendell Moore was really, really, when I got down to my like 28, 29, 30, let's be honest, it's a crapshoot. Sure. So he was actually my final cut. So I guess he would be my 31 technically. And again, this is guesswork at that point. There's just a few things I liked about the other guys, a little bit more their overall game. But Wendell Moore's solid all the way around, but he was the 4th or 5th best player on a team that didn't win the title. I don't want him on my team. I'm just kidding. He's fine. He'd be a completely fine pick with 30 or 34. He can play offense. He shot over 40% from 3 on the season, over 13 points per game, 5 rebounds, 4.4 assists, over 80% from the free throw line. He's a good scorer. So again, not the best defender. Who knows how much of it was, role on a really great team and, kind of having, open shots, more one-on-ones, things like that. But he's a solid player.
Well, we know it wasn't just that because he was on a terrible Duke team the year before.
That's a good call.
I mean, like, he's 6'5", like you said, he's a good shooter. I think like he's probably better than Aaron Wiggins. Like he certainly has a higher reputation as a college player than Aaron Wiggins did. But maybe he doesn't have like the size. So maybe that's where it doesn't translate to the NBA as much.
Speaking of size, somebody like Ty Washington I would guess he's going to go higher than like this
for
range.
Sure.
But like that's a good example of like we're probably much lower. Like we don't see a need for like a small guard on this team.
No more 6'3" point guards.
Like not really sure where the minutes are for a guard of that size.
Right. I mean, I guess, he like if Teo's gone, then maybe you need a backup point guard. And doesn't he have like a +6 wingspan? Something crazy?
Possibly.
Brandon, I remember you being super high on him early in the year.
On Ty?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a crazy wingspan. Ty is a solid player, honestly. I have him at 17, but that's more really, like you said, because he doesn't fit a Thunder need. The first half of the season before he got injured, he was really good across the board, offensively and defensively. He's pretty solid defensively, and he's got the tools. He's small, as far as like, he's not real thick and he's not real tall, but 6'3" point guard is fine. If you got some length and he does, and he can score the ball, he's probably going to be a really solid pick. If he falls to late lottery or just past that, honestly, the value for that is really, really solid for Ty.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't hate it.
You wouldn't hate it at
There's
12?
A lot of these. No, I would hate it at 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I think there's better players, just period, than him at 12. But at like, let's say I don't know. Let's say they somehow just magically acquire pick 17 and they went with him and they're like, all right, we're going to use the 17th pick on a guy we think will be our backup point guard for the next 7 years. Like, I think that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, Ty Washington and Trey Mann as a backup backcourt would actually be a lot of fun. I mean, that's a lot of scoring, a lot of playmaking, a lot of ball handling. I mean, that's a pretty lethal 1-2 punch potentially off the bench.
He feels like a hawk, and that's where Kevin O'Connor had him going at 16.
Yeah, I could see that. He would be mocked in the lottery across the board probably if he didn't have the injury halfway through the season. If you just based his stock on the season before he got hurt, I think he's a lottery pick.
Let's go 26 through 30. I'll start. Blake Wesley at 26. 27, a guy, I don't know why I like this guy as much as I do. Christian Brown. Can we go?
Brown.
They were saying Brown on telecast, and I was like, why?
It's
are they
Brown.
going with that?
Yeah, it's Brown.
Another interesting name, Marjon Beauchamp.
Yep.
Kendall Brown and Bryce McGowan's.
I have some overlap here. I have Bryce McGowan's, Blake Wesley, Jaden Hardy, Christian Kolokolo, and then I kind of went back and forth on either like Kennedy Chandler or Kendall Brown at 30. I don't really want either of them on the team though. So, but I think those are probably the next two.
At 26, I got Spenser's guy, Jalen Williams. I do like him. 27, Christian Koloko. 28, Ishmael Kamagate. 29, Kendall Brown, and 30, Christian Brown.
Who is Ishmael? I'm not familiar with him.
Mostly I picked him because he's got a great name, Ishmael Kamagate. I mean, come on, that's an epic name. No, he's from France, which Thunder players love their French. The Thunder love their French players, including Théo Maledon, Olivier Sarr, Jalen Horde, those guys. No, he's a center though. He's 6'11". He scores pretty efficiently. Like I looked at this all the last couple of days. He's like 64% from the field, which most centers score pretty well from the field. Something like 66% from the free throw line. Scored like 12 points. He's got upside basically. He's 21 years old. He's just at that point. I'm looking at the Thunder don't really have a center, and you're just kind of taking guys. You're just kind of rolling the dice, throwing the darts. If you're picking at 30 and 34 for a center, maybe even a backup center, like a true center, and he's a true center. So it's basically a dice roll for some upside.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm looking at his stats now. Everything you said is correct. He also has a block and a half a game and about 0.7 steals a game. So, and 6 rebounds in 27 minutes. So pretty good numbers.
Yeah, I looked him up because he was kind of a popular name that I saw when I was looking at like draft boards and like draft Twitter and things like that. I kept seeing his name coming up, and I've seen him on Tankathon, and I love the name. I knew he was French, so I kind of did a small dive on him. When we're picking at the end of the first round, early second round, nothing too exciting, but there's potential there. And that was more of a, hey, who are some centers that could maybe be something?
I want to ask about assuming Oklahoma City's at 12 and Jalen Duren goes before that. Is that too early for Mark Williams?
I don't think so.
Oh, I think so. Go ahead, Spenser. I'll let you.
We talked about this a little bit last week. I don't see a huge difference between those two. You can get more aggressive in your schemes with Duren, and Duren is 2 years younger, which gives you a little bit more upside. But I would rather have Mark Williams than like Tari Eason probably. And I my rankings reflected that last week. I don't know, like we talked about last week, there's a clear top 9, maybe even the top 10. And then it's kind of a crapshoot. Like you could by draft day, I may have Jalen Williams at number 10. I don't know. Like 12 to me is not too early for anybody from 10 to like 19, 18.
Brandon, are you just in favor of taking just are you less in favor of taking the center, or just he's not the guy?
I just don't. He's fine. If the Thunder took him at 12, I would be disappointed. Only because I think that you can find guys like him, and I think he's going to be a good player. The reason I'm higher on Duren is, yes, he's a couple years younger, but also I just think he's bouncier, twitchier, and things like that. Like as far as like going out to the perimeter and defending and things like switchability, and then the upside, just because the unknown of the couple years development and the possibility of maybe adding a shot, but he's like Jalen Duren is so bouncing. He's so physical already for being so young. Mark Williams, I think that you could take him, you can make him your center, and it would be okay. But at 12, you're passing on possibly guys like Dyson Daniels or Tari Eason or Usman Dang or Malachi Branham or Abaji, who I think can be like really nice players. I just feel like the upside and potential and things like that, or even if I'm not high on him because, he can't shoot, but like a Jeremy Sohan, because his defense can be elite. I just think like Mark Williams, like an old school throwback center, I would love him at 30. He won't fall to 30, but at 12, I just think that you're passing up on some upside swings that I would much rather take.
I don't totally disagree. I mean, positionally, is it ideal to take a center, like a center that's not going to shoot in the lottery? No. But I think like he's probably worth it value wise. And yeah, like you mentioned Dyson Daniels, who's interesting. But he's, not really like, he's just a great defender, right? Like that's kind of what his thing is, which is great. But like, I think we're looking for, I don't know, at those guard and wing spots, like I want some offensive pop. And then if I have to lean on heavy defense at center, like that's the structure that I would prefer.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, for me, Dyson Daniels, like really the only thing holding back is his 3-point shot, because his playmaking is so nice, especially if he's your third playmaker on this team. And again, he's really young and he's such a good, versatile defender. I mean, it is all about the defense, but to me, he's like a Scotty Barnes light, where he's this big dude, versatile, great defender that can play make. And you're like, hey, there's something there maybe with the offense too. So I'm pretty high on Dyson Daniels. Obviously, him and Tari Eason, I just much rather than Mark Williams. Now, value-wise, I don't think anybody would, say that the Thunder blew it value-wise if they picked him at number 12. And everybody would say that he, was a position of need and he fits and things like that. And I agree with. I just rather, take the upside that maybe one of these guys like Daniels or Tari Eason could be, kind of a role-playing type star.
I've started to see some mock drafts that have Dyson Daniels in the top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys had them both at 11 last week, according to what I have written down here. And I like, if they want to take him at 12, because, Presti really believes in his defense, and like, which he is, a lot of people say he's the best perimeter defensive player in this class. Like, that's a pretty good value. Also, he's Australian, right? I have that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it'd be kind of a cool synergy there to have with Giddey. But like he does have a lot of skill overlap with Giddey. Like he's not as good of a passer and he's a way better defender. But just in terms of the way that he scores, I think like they both have shooting concerns, things like that. And he is a good passer. He's just not like Giddey's level of passer.
Well, one other thing that I kind of talked about last week, we talked about Giddey, what is he going to be? Who's he going to guard defensively? We talked about him possibly being a 4 defensively, obviously maybe a 3. So at some point, the Thunder are going to need a 3 or a 4 who can be a great defender to kind of, help out Giddey. I think Giddey will be a really good team defender. He's smart, things like that. He'll never be out of place. But if you can get an athletic guy who can be like a lockdown defender at the 3 or 4 position, so that's another thing that I really like about Dyson Daniels. You can kind of, or Sohan, even though I'm not high on Sohan, he could take that 3 or 4 spot and take the better offensive player, and let Giddey take the worst offensive player out of those 3 and 4s to kind of cover for Giddey. That's what I like about Tari Eason as well.
This is where I really wish Shaden Sharp would have played games. I would love to be able to talk. I would love to be able to talk about him being like that dude, like the big wing that can defend the guys that Giddey cannot. And we don't know.
We don't know.
My dream scenario for Sharp, if it were to be with the Thunder, would be that he becomes the starting 2, and Dort stays but goes to the bench, and Dort and Trey Mann are like this incredible backup young bench duo, like in the backcourt. This great defensive stopper and this great offensive player on your bench, and then Sharp and his upside next to SGA and Giddey in the starting unit, and then you're huge across the board at your 1, 2, and 3 with Shea, Sharp, and Giddey. Pretty tantalizing.
It's pretty fun. Pretty fun to think about.
All right, you guys have anything else on 15 through 30?
Let me. I want to hit on one thing really quick.
Yeah.
Just as like a big picture thing. Terquavion Smith. I think I was the only one who ranked him, right?
Yes.
You guys have him on there? Okay. He is a pretty interesting guard prospect, kind of a shot creator. Played at NC State, a really, really bad NC State team. Their best player, at least going into the year, a guy named Manny Bates, got hurt like 5 minutes into the first game of the season. I think they had some other injuries. They were terrible. But if you go watch this guy, he's one of the more like fun, chaotic guards, or just one of the players, period, in this class. Super athletic, and has like a little bit of a dribble pull-up game. And it actually made me realize there's like I've got 5 guys circled here in either the late teens or into the 20s that are kind of like this guard / forward type that can get a shot off. We've got Malachi Branham, Smith, Bryce McGowan's, Blake Wesley, and then Jaden Hardy. And maybe Hardy's a little bit smaller for this archetype that I'm thinking about. But it's interesting that there's so many of that type of player that we think are going to be available outside of the lottery.
Can we add EJ Liddell to that list as well?
I mean, he's bigger though, right? Isn't he more of like a 4?
He's 6'7", 240.
Yeah, to the 240 part is where I'm like,
yeah,
a lot of.
I mean, he was. I didn't watch him as much last year, and I know he got better, but I watched him a lot the year before because I was covering the Big Ten more. He was like a lot of back to the basket stuff. I mean, he took almost 3 threes a game, and then he took even more last year. And I think his numbers look better across the board. Yeah, I don't have him ranked. I don't know how he translates.
Yeah, almost 60% true shooting on 19.5 a game, 37.5% from 3. He also blocked 2.6 a game. He had 2.6 blocks a game.
Again, like a great college player, obviously. I think he's probably first team all Big Ten, and was also Big Ten all defense, it looks like. So I don't know, man. Like that's the kind of type of guy that I don't know how he fits just with where his frame is at.
Mm-hmm. I remember watching him guard the big from Illinois, Kofi. Yeah. And like held his own.
He's strong, man, but he's all like, in the NBA, like you can be as strong as you want if you're 6'7". Like, are you going to be able to guard centers? Like, probably not. And you're probably at 240. You're probably not quick enough to stay in front of forwards. Like Darius Baisley would probably roast this guy off the dribble. Like, would be my guess.
He is interesting though. Like, I had him at 22. Ryan, where did you have him again?
Well, I had him at 22.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. He's somebody that I like more. I didn't think I was gonna like him, like for whatever reason. But as I kind of got into this and was looking more into the 20s, I ended up ranking him higher than I thought I would rank him because he was a positive 3-point shooter. He was a positive blocker. I can't remember exactly, but he had around 2.5 steals per game. He had quite a few rebounds. Like his numbers were solid across the board on, an Ohio State team. Like his physical tools and his numbers kind of back up that he's a guy that should be a solid role player. So yeah, I kind of like him. If the Thunder could get him at 30, I think that's a big win.
Speaking of that Ohio State team, I just want to remind everyone that my ORU Golden Eagles knocked off that Ohio State team. Nice. No big deal.
Nice. Would you rather have EJ Liddell or Max Asmus?
Hey, also Max Asmus gave buckets to Trey Mann as well in that same tournament.
That's right.
Wow. A lot of people gave buckets to Trey Mann, though.
Very true. Very true. All right. We will end it there with Spenser shading another Thunder player. That is a big thing around here. We're gonna do this again. Probably one more time before the lottery. We will definitely have a lottery reaction podcast going up sometime after the lottery. We probably won't go live again because there's apparently some bad juju with going live during.
It was a disaster. If you guys remember last year
during the lottery, so we will hold off and we will report back when it's done. But we will be back either one more time before the lottery night, or you will hear us next after the lottery results have been read. So
10 more days.
Yeah, we're very close. So everybody, cross those fingers and toes. Do whatever you got to do. Whatever you did last year, we're going to do the opposite. Because we are looking for something. Guys, thanks so much for joining.
Absolutely. This was fun.
Had a blast.
Thunder fans, thanks so much for listening. We'll talk to you very soon. This is the Daily Thunder Podcast. Hey, Hoopheads. We appreciate you listening to this episode of Daily Thunder. Be sure to check out other NBA pods on the Hoopheads Podcast Network, including Cavalier Central, Nuck If You Buck, 305 Culture, Spanning the Spurs, #Lakers, Motor City Hoops, X's and O's NBA Breakdown, LA Hoops, The Wizards Hoops Analyst, At the Buzzer, and Lakers Fast Break. There are also coaching-focused podcasts, Thrive with Trevor Huffman, Beyond the Ball, the CoachesMaze.com podcast, Players Court, Bleachers and Boards, The Green Light, and Courtside Culture. Oh, and don't forget the network's flagship, the Hoopheads podcast, hosted by Mike Klinzing and Jason Sunkel, and featuring the best minds in the game from its grassroots to the NBA.